Hello. Welcome to the IFoS Reflection series. Hereby, we are talking about the General English paper of the IFoS Mains. I, Nikhil Joshi, welcome you all to this session. I have appeared for two IFoS interviews and I have scored as high as 735 marks in mains. And on the both the occasions, I have scored 150 plus scores in English. So hereby, I wish to speak about the strategy and approach that is needed to score 150 plus marks in the English paper, and also what mistakes that you need to avoid. In addition to this, in the line of our GK thematic sessions and test series program, which I felt is a very useful thing and was useful for most of the candidates in civil services as well, we are also coming up with the similar very useful program for the general English paper as well. I would like to share details for it, and we would talk about how it can be useful for your pack to score 150 plus marks. Before moving forward, let's take a look at the paper outlook. So the paper comes with an adjective of general to the general English paper. So the syllabus has exact phrasing of understanding of English and workman like use of words. This is very crucial. This is exactly the phrase which UPSC actually gives in the syllabus. So we need to understand that it is not a paper of English literature, it is not a paper of English grammar, and it is of course not a paper of essay, which is actually reflected in the civil services essay paper. So what it means is it's a general English, and it requires understanding of English and only workman like vocabulary. So it does not require to have Victorian or Oxford level of understanding of English or the grammar or the vocabulary of phrases, but in turn it just wishes you to have technical level of understanding whereby you would be able to communicate, understand and highlight what is necessary in the event of the service. Secondly, UPSC is a great equalizer, as you must have known. It actually gives equal opportunity to those who have different background. So even if like someone who comes from Hindi medium background and has cleared the UPSC prelims for forest services and actually is writing Indian Forest Services mains, so for him or her also this paper is very egalitarian. He or she should not be in disadvantage of not having a background in English, and with good approach, with good strategy, he or she can also like score very high, very excellent marks with right strategy and right approach. So you need to inculcate, you need to understand and internalize the fact that this paper is a very egalitarian and does not unfairly give advantage to those who have like strong urban elite English background, because it is, the paper does not demand it. It is a quote unquote general English paper, and I am emphasizing it again and again. While talking about the pattern, so there are five things which come into paper, which is being observed in the PYQs. First is essay, second is letter and report, third is precis writing, fourth is comprehension, and fifth is grammar. And I have given the marks for each of the section here itself. And in grammar also, there are five different sections which come. First is the correction of sentences, which comes for 10 marks. Then they ask you about five adjectives and five nouns, and then each of them comes for 1 mark, so they have 10 mark in total. Then there will be two similar sounding words, and they ask you to differentiate and you like use them in sentence. Thirdly, there will be five idioms and phrases. You need to use them in sentences and make meaningful sentences, and each of the phrase comes for 2 marks. And then there will be 5 questions where directions are given. Generally they are about the voice or adding the question tag or like changing the degree of comparison. So these are like general grammar which most of us know. As you may have seen, the grammar only comes for 50 marks, but rest of the things come for 250 marks. However, what happens that most of the candidates consider this as only a paper of grammar and only study grammar, and I think which leads to the disaster. Speaking of disasters, I need to focus on what mistakes candidates do make. Firstly, they go into extremes. They either prepare too much, like going for the 65 different rules of grammar, going for 102 rules of grammar, going for by hearting and learning 550 idioms and phrases, going for 200 plus nouns and adjectives. This too much of study will only confuse you, and the paper does not demand that. It only demands you a basic understanding, a basic ability to comprehend the language, and at the same time, it does not also demand no preparation. So, like, I have talked with candidates who won't even know what pattern the exam has, and that has been the level with some of the candidates in the past, particularly with respect to the IFoS mains. So that also will lead to the disaster. So if you ask me, with my experience and with my high scorings, I would say there must be a sweet spot whereby you are balancing not only your optionals and GK, but also the not going into too much of things which may confuse you. Secondly, there is a wrongful treatment of paper. Like I have said earlier, people do treat these paper as very differently. Again, I'm repeating it. This is not a paper for Victorian English. This does not require to know jargons. This does not want you to have expansionary vocabulary. This wants you to have very workman like, very useful and very crisp and workman like ability understanding in English. Third mistake that people do make is too much focus on the grammar. Like I have seen people who actually go and learn 650 rules of grammar, 102 rules of, I'm not exaggerating, but people, there are people who are actually into it, and I can understand from the fact that they want to score very high marks. Either they have scored very little marks in their previous attempts, or they have like fear of English. But for me, too much focus on grammar would only mean that you are neglecting the letter and report and the comprehension and the précis aspect, and which in turn may cost you a lot of marks. The one mistake that most of the candidates who are scoring less is that they are actually neglecting the essay, the comprehension and the précis. I think that what's actually cost most of the candidates. So too much focus on the grammar is like one of the biggest mistakes that candidate can make. Thirdly, like I've said, neglect of report and letter. The not knowing the format or the knowing the format is one thing, but you should know the language, the phrasing, the comprehension and the vocabulary that is needed to write a formal report or formal letter. The voices, the approach, the person in which the reports are to be written, everything is needed to be prepared beforehand, so that you are able to write the report very comprehensively and also very correct in terms of grammar. Thirdly, approach towards essay. I have seen people approach this essay in CSC centric manner where ideas are focused. Hereby, it is IFoS English paper, and here again the English is general English. So here the focus must be on language, not the ideas. This shift is very necessary, and this shift can only be done if you are conscious about it. Next thing is time management. The issue of time management wasn't there in the era before 2022, but since 2022, in 2023 and 2024, the essay word limit has increased to 800 to 1000 words from earlier 600 words. So this additional 3 pages of writing does actually put a part of pressure on a candidate in terms of time management. Also, presses have become a bit longer than they used to be in the era before 2020. So these two have been making a case of unfair time management for some of the candidates who are not actually well versed or who have practiced the pattern or the paper beforehand. This may lead to them compromising on either in the grammar, either in the précis, or either in the essay, compromising maybe a 5 to 10 marks here or there. So this aspect must be taken into consideration while talking about the approach and how to address it and how to achieve that sweet spot of preparation. I have to give you a fact that entire essay paper requires 20 hours of study, not more than that and not less than that. And now it is up to you how to divide these 20 hours in across from today till the 16th of November when your paper is. For that, you should solve PYQ grammars and identify themes and patterns. So rather than learning for and then reading about the Rain and Martis and going into the n number of rules, n number of things, if you can solve PYQ grammar for first solve them for 5 6 years, then increase to 10 years, you will be able to come up with the ideas and themes around which the questions are being asked. So they ask about like the plurality of things, they ask about use of verbs, they ask about use of tense. So if you know these things, then only prepare and only highlight those things and develop an understanding for it. Secondly, prepare report and letter. Here not only the focus should be on the format, but also you need to understand and take into consideration what should be the language and phrasing of it. And if possible, and if you are like facing discomfort in it, I would say memorize up a bit. If you are like, if there is a thing which can make you get you advantage of plus 10 plus 15 marks in the overall tally, that is best. And if there is such unfair advantage that you can get, then I would say don't hesitate to get it. If the time and demand requires to memorize, memorize. That's it. Thirdly, essay. Again, like I have said, it is a language paper, not a essay paper. So focus on writing shorter sentences rather than focusing on ideas. Ensure that you are writing sentences short, crisp, in good grammar, and they have a specific language centric approach whereby you are giving correct punctuations, correct capitalizations, correct use of adjectives, adverbs, etc. So this shift needs to be conscious. This shift requires a mindfulness, and with it, uh, the essay from the essay paper can be converted to essay in the language paper. Like I've said, don't over prepare. You may compromise on the GK and the other two optionals if you like go and over prepare it for a bit. As I've said earlier, 20 hours in total are required, and you can actually keep 1 hour each day so that you English will act as an escape for you, and also it is something which requires cumulative learning. It is not a paper which can be prepared in a day. So this cumulative learning and the approach of not over preparing it would ensure that you are achieving the sweet spot for scoring 150 plus marks. And also don't neglect it too, while the entire entourage of two optionals and GK is there. And this half hour each day would ensure that your learning is cumulative and incremental. To help you in scoring 150 plus marks, in line with our GK thematic sessions and test series, we have also come up with a similar program for the general English paper as well. Here, deliverables would be solved grammar PYQs, whereby I would give you a ready-made solution just to see what kind of themes are repeated, and also uh, wherever you would need a solution to look into when you are actually solving the PYQs. Secondly, I would give you a format, structure, and model report and letters. So I will be giving you at least two of such to ensure that what kind of language to be used, what kind of formatting must be there, and how actually it should be written on the paper. So it will be a handwritten model essays, model reports, and model letters. Thirdly, there will be 2 to 3 strategy and approach session. Each of the session would cover different aspect of the paper, and I would give you on how to approach it. And to practice for the paper, there will be one full length test to which will be available for the subscribers. And in addition to that, like I have always believed and have been a constant mentor and a support provider to your entire of the IFoS preparation. So I would advise you to look into it, and and consider it as a one-stop solution for all the needs of your English paper. If you have any queries, you can directly contact to me at the Telegram handle of @IFOS_reflections. Till then, all the best, prepare well, and Jai Hind.